Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this webinar regarding Azure Windows Virtual Desktop. I'm here with Johan Van Neville, which is an engineer at Proximus. I'm Rafael Pizar. I'm product manager at Telindus, and we'll start shortly in few seconds. Just waiting for the last person to join us. So just waiting few seconds more. Okay, great. So I see we are on 20 people here in that webinar. Thank you very much for joining. As I say, I'm Rafael Pizar, product manager in Telindus. I will introduce you the webinar for Azure Windows Virtual Desktop, and we'll jump in right now. So, yep. So just first introducing your two speakers of today. So myself, I'm Rafael Pizar. I'm working here in Telindus in Luxembourg. I'm a product manager for Office 365 and Microsoft 365, and also go-to-market lead. And I'm also a pre-sales engineer working for Azure and public cloud in general. And I'm really pleased to welcome Johan with us from Belgium. So Johan, welcome first, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Rafael, and good morning to everybody as well following this webinar. So my name is Johan Van Neville. I work as an Azure engineer at Proximus, and I'm technically responsible for everything related to WVD. I also have my own blog, which you can see the URL on the screen. And last year, in the beginning of this year, I was also rewarded for my community efforts. I was awarded with the Azure Heroes Content and Community Hero Award.
Great. So thank you very much, Johan, to join me for this session. So we'll speak about WVD for sure. It's really the way you have to see that webinar is a feedback from two persons which are really field engineers. Let's say me more on the product and sales part, on helping the clients to design and to think about what strategies they want to deploy regarding WVD, and Johan more on the technical part regarding deployment and project part, which are the most important, let's say, regarding this solution of Microsoft. So without waiting more, let's jump directly to the subject. So what is Windows Virtual Desktop? For me, it's an IT offering, fully managed desktop virtualization in Microsoft Cloud, like everybody knows. It works in Azure. It's using Azure resources, and it's provide Microsoft 365 and a Windows 10 environment for final users, for your final users as an IT team. For me, it's an efficient and cost-optimized solution for virtual desktop on one side and apps on the other side, and which is available everywhere on the planet because it's made of cloud, from any device, which is an important point here, from the browsers, from the mobile phone, from the tablets, from the laptops, and from an IT, let's say, operational point of view. You will see that it's also a powerful solution, really easy to maintain and deploy. And for that, Johan will provide you a demo, so it's better than words. You will see it but with your own eyes. Johan, do you have any other point to add to this short introduction of the solution?
Well, as you said, it's yeah, and like Microsoft also says, is the best virtual desktop experience that you can have. completely built by Microsoft and maintained by Microsoft as well. So I will explain that in the next couple of slides.
Yeah, it makes it really a solution out of the box, ready to use and simple to use. So
Yeah,
I think
indeed.
is the important point. So let's switch to these points. What are the WVD key benefits? First, I would say it's secure. When you want to work on this kind of environment, you want to have a solution which is secure and private and keep sensitive data somewhere safe in the cloud and not on the user's device. First, because you are afraid that they could lose it, they could get hacked, they could get in the loss of data, and the important data, meaning the data of your company, of your customers, needs to be safely stored somewhere and safely can be there in the cloud, in Azure cloud. It's a real safeguard for your business with a multi-layered security strategy, and it's reachable really from everywhere. Like it's written on the slide, like I said previously, from everywhere on the planet and from everywhere, meaning devices. So it's really a huge advantage. For me, it's also simple as it should be, meaning configured in one click, scalable. You can use a configuration to deploy from 1 to 1,000 WVD desktops. It really depends on your objective for sure and what you want to gain from this solution. But it's really easy to use, and as it's written also there, it's scalable as hell, meaning that you can deploy and scale in minutes thousands of WVD apps. I will not speak too much about that because, as he said, you will have a demo, and Johan will provide you a really good experience regarding that. Next point is cost optimization. It's cost optimized this solution because it saves IT management time and money by hosting apps and data and desktops in the cloud. It controls deployment cost, meaning that you can use Azure resources like VM to deploy your environment like any other Azure VM, meaning or in a reserved resources or in a pay-as-you-go, meaning that based on your strategy, you can really save money there. Also for the licensing, meaning that you can all the resources in Azure bring your own license. You already have them. And the last point is that you can use your existing Microsoft 365 licensing for the desktop of the users, meaning that basically there is no more cost to count on besides the resources when you are already a fellow user of Microsoft 365, which is a huge advantage. The next point for me is ready to use, meaning that it provides a full service and a full experience out of the box, like you already said, of a Windows 10 multi-session or single-session desktops with the choice to deploy or full desktops or remote apps based on your strategy and your objectives regarding your user and your data. And it's really an enhanced user experience with FSlogix. Synchronization for the data and all the suite of Microsoft 365 tools and software like Office, like OneDrive and Teams, which are coming in the package and which provide a really seamless user experience. And at the end, at least but not at last, it's a Microsoft full integrated ecosystem, meaning that, as I said, you will find there all your Windows 10 software for a perfect user experience, and even more because it provides a natural way, a natural continuation for the end-of-life product of Microsoft, like Windows 7, directly into the cloud, which means that you have always a way to save your data and save your environment and to have a new way to make them scalable. Do you have any other benefits I forgot, Johan?
Well, I think you summed up the most, I think.
Okay, great. So I think we can move on then. You perfectly understood what are the key benefits of this solution. Now let's switch to another point, which are the requirement. What do I need to deploy that kind of environment? So first, you need a tenant and a subscription. So that is really easy. It's like any other kind of Azure resources. You need to have a contract with Microsoft through CSP or through an enterprise agreement. It really depends on your contractual background with Microsoft and your IT partners. But can be done through by a boss. And for the tenant, it's really important because it's what allow you to manage your resources and your users. Users which will be directly linked to the Active Directory synchronized with AAD or AADBS, which is really the one of the main pillar of the service, let's say, because it's really based on the user, and it's really integrated the IAM with Azure and Office 365. So it's a really important point. It's really the cornerstone of a great user experience here. Active Directory, a link to the tenant you will have. Then you have the Azure Virtual Network configuration. For sure, like in a lot of different services, you will need to configure network and security levels to have a good experience and to provide enough security to your user and their experiences. So so here you will have a bit of configuration to do so. Next point is a correct licensing. Like I already said, WVD is working with existing Office 365 or M365 licensing, meaning that you will need to provide to users the correct level of licensing, depending on what objective you want to reach. We'll speak about that later, but it's pretty easy, especially if you already have an existing licensing. Next point are the storage, because as a lot of different resources, you need storage. So you need storage for the WVD itself, but also for the FSlogix profile containers. We have a dedicated slide on that topic, and Johan will demonstrate you what is the crucial importance of FSlogix in that user environment. Then you have the point of the admin permission, global admin contributor. Why? Because it's really important that you understand that it's, as I said, it's a user environment based. So you will need to really define carefully what are the permissions here on the WVD, if the user are admin on their own WVD or not, what they can access, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. So it's really important here that you really have a strategy behind this. And last point, custom image, meaning that, as I said, you can deploy apps, but you can also deploy desktops. And on that point, you will need to define if you want to provide for WVD an existing custom image of your Windows 10. If you want to have a new one each time you're deploying, if you want to have a special secured one for your user, if you want to go multi-session or mono-session. So once again, it's joining really your strategy and what you want to achieve here on WVD. Then next point, as I said, there is the licensing part, which is important. It's as I said, it's important to understand that it's user-based environment. So you will need at some point to have a Windows-based licensing, which can be found in Windows 10 if you already have licensing in Windows 10, which can be in Microsoft 365 in the full suite from F1 to A5, with all the security components coming with A3 and A5. With Windows 10, which allow you to use WVD as an extended environment for the user, which already have it. So it's a Windows 10 Enterprise E3, E5, or Education, or VDAP user. And like I already mentioned, also it can be done from Windows 7. If you still have Windows 7 environment, you can continue the experience of your user on WVD easily, even if it's end of life. And if you have the correct licensing level, you can totally deploy a WVD Windows 7 environment. It can also run Windows 7, even if it's a user-based environment. It can run the Windows Server from 2012 to 2019. It can be based on RDS, can be based on CAL. It really depends on what is already existing for you, but both type of licensing are available, which it's make it a really affordable and available environment, let's say, a solution from Microsoft based on all the different kind of licensing you have already by your side to reach that solution. Johan, do you have any other point maybe to add at this stage?
Not at this moment, no. So guess we
Okay.
can go to
It means that I was quite complete. That's a good point. Then another point I wanted to refer, because when I spoke about optimization cost, I said that first there is a license for sure, but maybe you already have it, as we just spoke about. But then there is the resources. So for that, you have two kind of tools available to make a cost optimization and to really measure which will be your cost on Azure. Meaning, first you have an Excel which is providing by Microsoft by itself, which helps you to really go through all the different level of configuration of WVD, or you have the online optimization tool of Microsoft, which is a pricing calculator, like I think everybody in the webinar already know. I just wanted to do a quick introduction on it, and it's really because it really helps you to understand what will be at the end of the day your real cost on that solution. So you just go on there on the pricing calculator, and you just go directly to the solution Windows Virtual Desktop, and then there you can start to define what is your strategy regarding this solution. So you choose your region, you choose your type, if it's pooled, meaning having different person on the same VM, or if it will be per user, which meaning per user environment. Then you define your users, the number of users. So there I define 100, but it can be way less or way more. And then you have the peak. Peak is when you will want to work in pay-as-you-go environment. It's really important because it will define what kind of resources you will need to manage your simultaneous user connected at the same environment. So meaning the peak moment and the off-peak moment, meaning that what are your minimum and maximum usage of resources during the day. So that's what you will need to define. Then you have the usage hours, which will be if once again you work with pay as you go, the number of hours you will use the resources, meaning that some of the people will use it during normal hours of the day, some of them will use it during the night, maybe some during the weekend. So that really depends on your strategy and your user strategy. Then you have the session, so it can be single session or multi-session. Multi-session is when multiple users are connected to the same virtual machine simultaneously. Single session, as opposite, is when only one user is assigned per virtual machine. Then you choose it there. Then you have a type of workload. It can be light, moderate, or heavy. It really helps you to define what kind of usage the user will do of the session. And the last point, the third point, is the virtual machine as itself, because, like I said, it the repository layer of the session is a normal VM, is a normal Azure VM. So then you need to define what kind of VM you want, and which is nice because on Azure it provides you a wide choice of configuration and sizing for your VM, really depending on your strategy. If you want a lot of small VMs, if you want just some but heavy, it really depends on the kind of workload. And here the calculator will help you really to choose the kind of VM which are more fitting to your strategy. As you can see, it tells you maybe you need one VM which will be always up, and then some of the more which will be just on when your user will be on. It really depends on what you want to achieve. And then it provides you the normal setting options regarding licensing. And also, last point, manage disk. Here the data is an important point. We'll speak about again later, but you need to define what kind of disk you want to link to your VM. It really depends again from a strategy, from what are the data used for? Are they personal? Are they backup? Are they just here for test? And will you deploy an Azure file storage below for the users? So it really depends on what you want to achieve there. So I hope I was clear regarding the pricing. So I will switch next to the next point, which is architecture. And here I will give the hand to my friend Johan, which will explain you what is the real WVD architecture.
Thank you very much, Rafael. So basically, the WVD has three major components, as you can see. And the main difference, and yeah, I'm going to use Citrix for this example. is the middle component. With Citrix, everybody knows you need to manage everything by yourself or with your permanent ICT partner who does it for you. But with Windows Virtual Desktop, you don't have to think of that anymore, because Microsoft has built it, and Microsoft, it does the management all for you. So your web access, your SQL, your broker, your gateway, don't have to think about it anymore. It's worldwide available. So that's one part. The left part, all the clients you see there, Windows Virtual Desktop, you can connect to it with basically any device. So your laptop, your iPad, your Android phone, even from your HTML5 browser, which I will show you in the demo. And then the component on the right, on the right. So all the things you need to manage are your desktops, your applications, of course, also your Active Directory you need to maintain, and you need a place to store your FSlogix profiles. But we'll come back to that later on. So those are the three major components you have to take into consideration. So I already mentioned the FSlogix. So FSlogix, what is it basically? It's a company that Microsoft acquired late 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And they wanted to use it for the WVD. So what does it do, the FSlogix? With an old environment, everybody knows that when you logged on, that most of the time the profile was loaded over the network onto the machine where you are logged on. But with the FSlogix, it's no longer the case. So with FSlogix, your profile is in a VHD or a VHDX container, and when the user logs on, the container is mounted on the virtual machine, which makes it way more fast to log on, because you don't have to transfer a profile from a gigabyte, and so the logon times it's more faster. Also, a benefit of FSlogix is the upmasking. You can simply put some rules in the FSlogix application, saying that this user can see the application or not. So if the user logs on, he can't see the application at all. It's still there, but because of the rules that you put in the FSlogix, it's invisible for them. And then also the Java redirection. Everybody knows it's a pain in the ass, to say it like that. If you have multiple Java versions installed on your system, to make sure that the application uses the correct one, FSlogix, it does that for you. So those are the three main advantages for the FSlogix. I'll go to the next.
Yeah, it makes it a really important point. Yes, indeed.
Yes. A big advantage of the Windows Virtual Desktop is the MSIX app attach. Basically, everybody is saying that it's a game changer on applicational level, and they are right. So for what it is, basically, you can see it in two different sections. So the MSIX, it's a new application format that Microsoft has invented, making it a much more easy to package an application, because it's one format, and they are still making adjustments to it, they are making it even better. And then you have the MSIX app attach feature. Basically, what does it do? The same as with the FSlogix profile. So as you can see in the one picture, Microsoft has decoupled the applications and user profiles from the image. So you can the applications, they are containerized, making it more easy for you to maintain your images because you only need one image, and when a user then logs on, he will get only the applications where they have the rights to. Next slide. So in the demo,
part.
Yes, the fun part. Hopefully it's not a Murphy's Law at the moment.
I hope not.
With the demo, I'll show you the management portal. So it's all ARM based now. So Microsoft has incorporated the WVD in the Azure portal, making it easier for user management and for your application management, of course. And then I'll show you the difference between the WVD desktop client and the web portal. And of course, my user is enabled, is forced to use the MFA. And then as well, if there's still time, I'll show you how to create the conditional access policy. If there's still time, we'll go through that. So let me just quickly, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, you should be able to see it now.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so basically we have the Windows Virtual Desktop portal on top of the Azure portal, making it very easy to manage it. So you have your host pools, your application groups, as you can see here. In our test environment, we already have some host pools configured, all in a pooled version. You also have the option to go personal. That's also an option. And also the load balancing method is explained there. We have our application groups as well. Your workspaces, as you can see. And then also there's, it just went GA as well, the insights for the Azure Monitor. So here you can see the performance of your host pool. If it all goes well, I hope. There we go. And as you can see, it's Murphy's Law, of course, because I just opened it an hour ago. But anyway, I'll go into my host pool. And you see here, I've got my desktop client here. So my session desktop has been configured. I can assign a role. I can assign people to it. As you can see, we have our Azure Active Directory group assigned. So everybody who's a member of that group automatically will get our desktop. And if I go back, we have a couple of MSIX packages also configured, and it's really easy to add them. You just go to add here, and it's really Murphy's Law today. But anyway, I'll show you how to connect with it. So I'm using the remote desktop client at this moment. I will type in my super cool user ID. And normally in a minute, I should be prompted to do the MFA, indeed. And you probably can hear it as well. So I'll approve it. Basically, it's the same on the web portal as well. So here we go. Okay, as you can see, my user already has access to two MSIX packages as well, the Nota++ and the VLC. And if I start at Alcosa a desktop, I will be prompted again to log on to the desktop. And normally it should be opening. Just to confirm, Rafael, you can see the WVD opening? Rafael?
Yes, I guess it's charging.
Yes, indeed. It's not a big machine, so I'm not sure how fast it will be. Could be that I need to adjust the skew for this.
Yeah, it's here. Well
Okay.
done.
And as well, I just let it start for a while. The Teams is also installed on it and been optimized for WVD. And if you want to be sure that it's really optimized for WVD, there's a trick to show it. I think a couple of people who are in the call will know how to do it. So you just go to About and Version, and now you can see here that it's been optimized for WVD, which the benefit of this is that the CPU usage as well will be less, and also with the media optimizations, it's a peer-to-peer connection between the two clients who are running the team. So, and just to tell you the difference between the two, I'll slide in my incognito window for a second. You can see the incognito window, Rafael?
Yep, we do.
Okay, so I'm right now connecting through the to the browser. I'll do the same thing. Go. Of course, again, the MFA, which should be enabled, in my opinion, by default. Is the first security rule that you should enable when using the WVD, because people, they can log on from any device possible. So if you want to be a little bit secure with it, you should enable the MFA and put the conditional access policy on it. One thing that's a major difference at the moment with the Windows Virtual Desktop Client, you can use multiple screens. With the browser version, it's not yet possible. So you only have one screen when connecting through the web portal. But I hope that they will incorporate it into the browser version as well, because I am hearing a lot of feedback from customers that want it. So, so basically, that is that for the demos of the Azure port. For the clients, I will quickly show you the demo for the Azure Active Directory for the MFA. So if you go onto the security, then you click on conditional access, and here you can add a new policy, of course, and you can say here, you can select the apps that you want and go to the Windows Virtual Desktop Client. If you select it, there you go. That's that. And then basically, you can configure your entire access here. You can even put it on thin clients as well. There's a little trick to do it. If you select your devices, only the Windows devices or Android or iOS are visible. But if you deselect them all, those devices, then your conditional access policy will be applied onto the thin clients as well. That's it for the demo. I think, Rafael, you have a part as well about
Use cases, yes.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you very much for the demo. As we could, so it's easy, but there's some tricky part which maybe needs help from an engineer, which is feeling with enough knowledge here on WVD. So that's why maybe we can help you with this with environment. But as you can see, mainly it's user based and it's pretty simple. So the last part we wanted to share with you is the use cases. So we just highlighted two different use cases. So the first one is CI/CD for developers. Let's say how to deploy and how to use the WVD solution to test and to run environment for developers to test their code. So in that kind of use case, which is one of the use cases we have alongside our clients, it's the team of developers which are on the WVD solution, writing their code, pushing it through Azure repository, which build it, which goes through a container registry. Then they can test and do automatic releases, and they can try to deploy it on a Windows server, which is on Azure resources, or they can even deploy it in prod, and when it's validated on a VM, which is also an Azure resource, or can be hosting in a data center, can be on a Docker container, and then the Azure WVD is really a part of a full and complex line of solutions provided by Microsoft to allow developers to work efficiently and in a good condition with a good user experience. So then it's really important for them to have a safe environment, secured, with data they need to have access to, and with all the tools around them to work efficiently as a team. And I think WVD is there really a part of the pillar of this tooling. The other use case we wanted to share is a prod use case, let's say, for a really prod user, which will be working on the WVD solution every day on an everyday basis. And it's really a good use case, for example, for SMBs, which needs to deploy some VMs in the cloud, which cannot afford to have a complex and complete full solution from another editor, and which can need and require some other VM to deploy a full solution with full security, and which can be a bit heavy for SMBs, let's say. So the out-of-the-box solution of WVD is really helpful for that kind of context, with a customization, security, and tooling for the solution as itself. From our part in Telindus, because we are a partner which is regulated for finance here, we can provide the service with already the good stamp from the authorities here for this service for small financial SMBs. And as I said, and I will repeat it, the user experience will be really great, as Johan demonstrated. If you in the demo, if you configure it correctly, then the full user experience can be really great in WVD for your prod context for the users, which will work there like they are already working on a real desktop with their data, with their colleagues, with their emails, the teams, and everything accessible at any time. So that will be really the real experience you want to provide them at a really optimized cost with full security. So that's really a solution you need to look at when you want to deploy something for your users. So I think it was the last slide of our presentation, and then we can jump really quickly to the question and answer you may have. I hope we are complete. I hope we answered most of your questions during the presentation. If you have so, don't hesitate. I think you saw that there is some chat and questions tools in the webinar tool, so don't hesitate, and we can answer them. If you have later questions, which can also happen, don't hesitate to write us through Telindus website or through our emails, or to contact us. We will be pleased to answer you. And I think you will have also the opportunity to have a reviewing of this webinar, because it's recorded. So I think you can find it on the YouTube of Telindus and on a different platform. So Patrick has a question which regarding what kind of container format are supported with the MSCX apps attached. So I think it's one for you, Johan.
Yeah, I don't know them by heart. My apologies, but my apologies, Patrick, for that. I would have to look them up.
Okay, so maybe it's something we can have a look. And Patrick, don't hesitate to get in contact with us if you need more answer. We can answer more deeply to your question, because here we don't have the full list of container formats, unfortunately. Okay, if there is no other question, it's okay. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, guys. As I said, if you have later questions, don't hesitate to contact us, or me, or Johan, or Telindus directly. You will be able to have access to the review of this webinar. It was a real pleasure to be with you here, Johan, today. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much to all of you to join also, to give us a bit of your time. I hope this was a pleasant moment with us, and I really hope that your deployment on WVD will be a success, and you will reach all your objectives. So have a good day, and we'll have the pleasure to see you in another webinar soon with Telindus and Proximus. Bye.
Thank you very much for attending, people. Have a nice day.